That's right. It's Thankful Thursday. For those of you in Clubhouse, welcome. And please feel free to stay connected, join the chat. I have a fantastic personal friend of mine and also my mentor coach when it comes to the menopause journey. Thank you so much, Beverly, for being there for me. So I have Beverly Whitlow, CEO of Beverly Hills Health and Wellness Coaching, who is a part of our fantabulous Legacy and Me podcast today. And Beverly helps women over 40 to break through the stigma, and I'll say that stigma of menopause and lead into a fabulous, confident, and sexy new vision of themselves in a holistic journey in her Body and Lifestyle Academy. And I can definitely say, and I'm proud to say, I'm a satisfied client of Beverly's. She helped me through some amazing transitions as far as understanding the importance of what food can do to your body and how that affects menopause as well. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and get started here, Beverly. I can, if you want to add to that introduction, go ahead.
Hello, Cynthia. First of all, let me say thank you for the invitation. I love you so much, and I always
Thank you.
where you are. You are absolutely a gem, and I am so glad to be able to have this conversation. What you're doing is just so important to women. I was listening to a summit, and I'm so looking forward to hearing more information about your business and the legacy. And I'm just thrilled to be here, and wherever I can, support your audience, I'm happy to do so.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Beverly. And I do see in Clubhouse, we have Miss Jeanette. Hey, Jeanette. So glad to have you in the room. Jeanette and I, we've connected, and definitely a very good connection there. We both have the same ideas, just as you, about the legacy, right? Being able to capture those lessons learned and also your material assets and making sure that it's protected, right? So that's one of the key things I talk about. And then also the legacy, making sure we leave a positive mark. And you're doing that, Beverly. You're really making a positive impact with what you help people go through in this particular journey through menopause. And I do want to make sure that people know that and are able to share with that. And let's see here. It looks like, oh, great. Hey, Jeanette, I saw your note there. So she's on there. Feel free to join in, Jeanette, at any point if you have any questions for Beverly. She's a gem, full of knowledge. So just want you to know that. All right, so let's go ahead and get started, Beverly. We talked, as I mentioned, the foundation of everything we discuss today is legacy, right? Those lessons learned that you have and that you want to share with us. So how would you define legacy, Beverly? I'm very curious to know about that. How would you define it?
I wanted to look it up in the dictionary, and I said, no, I just want to come at it very authentically. So for me and what I do as a health and wellness coach serving women in menopause, legacy for me is making an impact in society in a positive way.
Yes. Very good.
By doing so, I want to shift humanity in a way that helps us move forward. And in serving women in menopause, this is something to me that's so passionate. It's so under acknowledged, and it's a stigma that's associated that's maybe 20, 30, 40 years old. We're talking menopause today looks like J-Lo. It looks like our vice president.
Yes.
So it's totally different, and we need to look at how we can have the conversations as a whole regarding menopause and also perimenopause, which is affecting women in their 30s, which they don't understand. And the other aspect of legacy is I look at a way of stepping into my gift in a way that provides a financial wealth legacy for my generations to come. So long conversation about legacy, but that was my heartfelt, authentic answer to legacy.
Wow, that's fantastic. And I love how you break it down, right? Because it's not just about what you're passing on, but it's what you're doing now, leaving that mark now. And then it will lead into what you pass on. That's fantastic, Beverly. I love that authenticity. So thank you for sharing that. That's fantastic. So you talked a little bit about, and you most likely will talk about it in the future here too during our discussion, but perimenopause, what is that, and what does it mean for people? Because I'm sure nobody knows that, or a lot of people don't. I know I didn't. When I went through it, I didn't even know what was happening. But could you share a little bit about that with us?
Yes, absolutely. And thank you for asking that question, because this is, to me, foundational in understanding why women are so turned off when they hear the word menopause. So yes. Menopause, let me address that, is a day. It is a day. It's when you go 365 days without a cycle, and that day becomes your menopause day. and everything after that is post-menopause. So when we talk about the front end of menopause, that's perimenopause. And this is the part where women, when they're in their 30s, need to step up and listen and lean in, because this is affecting you in your 30s. On average, around 35 years old, you are going to be recognizing some changes in your body. And these changes, these symptoms are the shifts of hormones, and it starts the path 10 years from like 35 to 45 is like that perimenopause period. So if you are aware and knowledgeable and understand what's happening in your body, you won't end up in a doctor's office thinking you're losing your mind or you're going through absolute depression. You'll know that some of these symptoms are indicators that your body's changing. So I'm going to stop there because I know this is about, legacy, but because my conversation is about menopause, this contributes to the legacy conversation.
That is so true. I'm glad you pointed that out and help people understand the connection there, right? Because really, we as women, and even men or the family, they have to understand what's going on, right? So in order to have a happier family, a happier relationship, the other person has to understand it as well. So it's not just about women, it's for all people to truly understand that. And I agree with you 100%. There's such a stigma about that. People like, shh, don't talk about it, just go through it. Well, if people don't know what they're going through, they will end up in that doctor's office. So I'm so glad you're educating people about this. And it is part of our legacy as women and as family members to be able to carry that on and help people understand the reality of it. It's a part of who we are. There's nothing bad about it.
Absolutely. And one more thing that I would throw out, it's not just about us as women and our spouses and the people in our immediate circle. This is global. This is the part of humanity. I was listening to a doctor's conversation over in Europe, and they are so much more advanced and open about the conversation of menopause, but they have companies that have signed on that are educating their organizational structures at every level to understand what menopause is, how to support the women who are going through menopause, legislation that is supporting menopause. Like all of the health sectors there are trying to support women in menopause. Here in the United States, crickets.
Wow. You know what, Beverly, yes, and thanks for sharing that. When you said that, I literally got chills in my body, because can you imagine just businesses in general, society in general, with that understanding of what it means and how it could impact us? That's amazing. Well, I know you can be a catalyst to get that started in this particular society, right?
And I'll need an attorney to help me along the way.
There you go. There you go. Well, good collaboration, right? We always say, as we know in the circles we run in, collaboration trumps competition. Absolutely. It's all about collaborating. So that's awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you for bringing that up, and also bringing that up from a connection with other countries, right? With the European connection, and seeing the differences and where we can look forward to getting to. I always remember Stephen Covey's book, The 7 Habits of Highly Successful People, and he mentions begin with the end in mind. Well, you already know the end. You want people, corporations, businesses, and society in general to understand menopause at all stages. Right. So that's fantastic.
Absolutely. I love the next generation that's coming to not have to go through the stigma that we're going through today. Yes. We're trying to move this forward where it's eliminated and it's embraced. And it's one of those things that's a rite of passage, Yes,
so true. And I think I shared with you, I have 6 sisters, right? I'm the oldest of 7 girls, and I invited all of them. I don't see them, but I hope they listen to the replay here, because we're all going to go through this regardless. So I'm the oldest. I've been there, done that. And now we move on to the next one in line, right? And they'll go through the next one. So for all of you listening in, thank you so much for joining. This is Cynthia Gallardo with Legacy and Me podcast. And I am so glad to have Beverly Whitlow with us. I just wanted to make sure everybody knew exactly where we were in this particular moment in the room. So let's go ahead and get back to some of the questions here, because I really want to make sure people can see the connection between legacy and menopause. Okay. So legacy is all about the past, the present, and the future. So can you share with us a little bit about your story leading up to where you are now, what has led you up to this particular point in your legacy?
I would think it's based on the fact that I had at some point in my life given my power away.
Okay.
And I say that to the medical community. when I was growing up as a child, I'm a baby boomer, so I go way back. And I was growing up in a time when doctors were very rare. Our community, who had all of the knowledge, were the grandmothers, the great grandmothers. It was very holistic in nature. They had elixirs, they had all of these compounds, they knew how plants works and herbs work. And that's the way we cared for ourselves. So I didn't go to a doctor until I was much later in life. And the reason why I actually found myself giving my power away when I became an adult was that I kind of wanted to get away from what had been taught to me growing up. Like, oh, our grandmothers wanted to do this, very old and antiquated way. We have doctors now and progressive ways of dealing with things. But what I found out, and the reason why I'm actually a health coach today, is because some of the things that these companies come up with, these pharmaceutical industries come up with, are masking a problem that we can actually address foundationally if we look at our diet, how we move, our mindset. So that is my space of legacy, is that, okay, there is a place and time for all things, but to give your power away, especially as a woman, we're so intuitive, we're so wise. Our bodies talk to us and we're able to bring forth birth. We are intuitively capable of listening to our bodies and finding out what is going wrong. And if we take too much medications without trying to listen to that foundational yearning to take care of our health, then we end up in a situation where we're compounding a problem with something else that's masking the problem, and it just keeps going. So now I'm like medication free. At one point I was on medication for a myriad of things, but now I am so much more happy, healthier, clear of mind. I was in the gym the other day working out. Like, I have a strong body, and I know women that are my age, and some of them have struggles just getting up and taking a walk around the block.
Wow. Well, thank you for sharing that, the authenticity with that as well, Beverly. And it's amazing how you say that, because you've seen firsthand how the holistic approach can really impact and create a more positive lifestyle for an individual. And you had it in your legacy, right, with your grandparents or your grandma. And now you're carrying that on and helping others see. And I can truly attest, when you shared those in specifics with me and helped me see the importance of having the right diet, I feel great. It's amazing how your body can change in as little as, how much was the first 1 week? It was fantastic. It was
amazing. 5-day detox.
Yes,
5 days.
5 days. It's like a push, right? That push you need. So I definitely encourage you. And we'll definitely have your contact information in the chat. We can put it, or not in the chat, but in the video. When we compile it, we'll make sure it's out there, and so people can reach out to you about that. It's so important. And I like the way you said that. A lot of time, pharmaceuticals or medicine, there is a time for medicine, right? But sometimes it just masks what is actually there. Get to the root of the problem holistically. Take care of it. You may not need to use those other medications. So it's basically working through what we have naturally to be able to address what our body needs. I love that approach. And like I said, I can truly attest it does work. It makes a big impact on individuals. So thank you for sharing that with us, Beverly. So now that we understand what led you to this point and why you're passionate about it, what would you say is now the present? What are you doing now to help women?
Well, presently what I'm doing is I'm trying to be a voice that makes a difference. When I started this journey in 2017, I started my health coaching business, and I was doing it part-time. About a year ago, I transitioned full-time, and I was working with a coach, and she challenged me and just like, okay, if this is your space, what are you going to do to make the difference? What can you do to stand out? And I'm like, I just want women to have a conversation. And they're just backing off. They don't want to have a conversation. You say menopause, they're like, oh, that's not me. And like, honestly, it is, but they don't know. And so she challenged me, like, find a way to get out there and have these conversations. And what I did, stepping out on fear, is I had a summit. I pulled together, I think, 9 amazing women who were specialists in their area. I kind of looked at life from a 360 in a woman's point of view, and tried to find experts that I could have a conversation with and bring other women to the table to hear the conversation. So that was my first summit. I had a medical person on to talk about hormones. I had a health and wellness person to talk about movement and yoga. I had a person talk about lifestyle. I mean, there's a myriad of things that we're affected by, but not having a clear understanding or hearing conversations about what we need to be thinking about is a disservice to us. The title was What My Mother Didn't Tell Me when it comes to menopause. The average woman has not had a conversation with their mother about menopause. When I was growing up, the word menopause was so taboo, you never had an open conversation. So if you look at a woman who's like 45 to 55 years old and never had the conversation, how would she know to address perimenopause or menopause other than going to the doctor and taking a prescription? Like
Right.
that's one option. So for me, it was about having a conversation. So that was, I don't know, 6 months ago, I had my first summit. It was amazing. So many women came and talked about how wonderful it was, the content that was shared. And I actually had my second one about a month ago, and it was more speakers, more conversation. And it just, to me, that's me making a difference. I'm not complaining about it, but I'm having these conversations with powerful women in this space, and that conversation allows other women to come to the table and have like a listening ear of what women went through in perimenopause and menopause. And the second summit was called like gems, menopause gems. Like I wanted to drop gems about what women can expect regarding perimenopause and menopause, because each woman goes through this phase differently.
Right. Oh, wow. I'm telling you, first of all, congratulations to your summits and for the impact you're making. I was personally there at the first one, it was fantastic. I wasn't able to make the second, but I definitely look forward to making the other ones that you plan to have. And I do want to say this, as far as you can check off being a voice that makes a difference, because we're having a conversation today, right? So you're doing that already. No problem. So you're doing that today. So great. So, and also I do want to stress the importance, knowledge is power. And you just pointed that out very, very clearly. If we have knowledge about it, then it helps us understand. And it's interesting you say that about the not having a conversation with your mom. Because me personally, I never had that conversation with my mom. And like I said, I have 6 sisters. I don't know if they have, but I will be having that conversation after our discussion today with my mom and my sisters to make sure, you know what, it's something we all go through. It's no problem. Let's just talk about it and move forward, right? Accept it and move forward. So that's great. And what absolutely resonated with me is one of my mantras is be a problem solver, results, not excuses. Identify a problem, create a solution, and you've done just that. Not that menopause is a problem, because it's not. It's a part of who we are, but it's an opportunity to help others understand what it means and what they're going through. So you've created a solution here. So you're a solution maker, a problem solver. You're getting it done, Beverly. I love that about you. So excellent, excellent. Yeah, so we've seen the past, now what led you to this point, the present, what you're doing now. So let me ask you, what are your plans for the future regarding the menopause and your legacy?
You know what, Cynthia, I am such a big possibility person. I am a big dreamer. There are so many things that I've achieved in my life because I had a thought and I dared to go after it. And I feel like if you have these thoughts or these things that are in you, it has to be from the divine. It must be a part of the path that you're meant to travel while you're here. So I love to travel. I have been a global trotter around the world from, I don't know, college days, going at, very meager travel, but now globally and spending time overseas. Actually, I worked for a company at one point where I actually worked over in Ethiopia on the continent of Africa. So since COVID has come, no travel, I want to be safe, I want to be healthy. And now it's been like 2 years since I've really gotten out and traveled. And this bug is coming back to me. It's like, okay, I need to get out. And one of the things that I look at for my future and what I'm doing for my legacy is I want to bring women who are in menopause on a journey. And I would like to take them to like really wonderful resorts, health retreats outside of the country, so they could experience life at another level and also have this retreat focused on menopause. So that's my legacy, is to have a global retreat center for women. And I'd like to have it on the four corners of the earth. That is my big lofty goal.
Woo, I love it. I love it. And please count me in. I love traveling as well. That is a fantastic vision. And I always talk to people about the legacy zone, right? And I tell them to put 4 quadrants: idea, vision, reality, profitable business, or your legacy. And you've just gone through each of those steps, and you can see it, you can taste it, you can envision it. That's fantastic, Beverly. Like I said, definitely count me in. I want to be a part of that. Okay. So that's great. And I really like how you're doing that, because it helps people understand the importance of taking time for themselves, especially as they're going through this journey of menopause, right? Making sure that they take time for themselves, because if they don't, they can't help other people, their families, the community around them. So that's so important. So thank you for sharing that. And just a little side note, I know what you mean about low budget traveling. When I was in college, I studied in England for a year, and I was on the Euro rail, and I went through 13 countries at, in 30-day backpacker. So it's a real thing. It's an awesome thing. Get out there and travel is what we're saying, right? Beverly is part of this.
Oh, yes. We need to have that conversation for our life, because that's another thing. Most people live within a 9-mile radius.
Yes.
And we as women, when we look at menopause, this is an awakening. If you haven't had a chance to go out and live life, this is it. Have conversations with women, understand what the possibilities, what's out there, what can you do, what can you awaken within you.
That's right.
The time is we need to birth that major chapter of our life. It's not done. We're still here.
Exactly. I love how you say that. So it's opening that chapter, whatever idea that person has, writing a book, traveling, starting a business, whatever they have, take that step and take it to the next level. That zone I talked about, we can do this. We've done that, right? And we can help other people do it as well. That's great, Beverly. You see how excited I get about that? It's so awesome. It's awesome. Well, great. So now we've learned about your legacy, part of your legacy, right? The past, the present, and where you want to go. And I know, because I know you personally, you will achieve those things. I know you will. And when you do, we're going to come back and have a conversation and say, remember that time back when we talked about this? And the good thing is we have it recorded. We'll be able to look at it.
Absolutely. I look forward to it.
Awesome. Well, good. So now what I want to ask, because we know past, present, and future, what are 3 ideas or gems or something that individuals listening can take back about the conversation regarding menopause?
I would say this is a natural stage of our lives. Don't let the stigma of years past define your future for you. For me, I almost feel like I want to call it an awakening.
Okay.
Like you have spent your life probably going through being a sister, a daughter, a cousin, a friend, like all of these spaces that you've served in, and then maybe a wife, and then as a mother possibly, and then somebody who supported the community, somebody who's been in religious associations or women's group. Like there's all of these phases of your life that you've been in service to. And once you get to this place of menopause, I truly call it self-care. Yes. And I went so far as to call it, sometimes people call it selfishness. But if you've been serving for decades and decades and decades, when do you think your time is going to come? This is a time of your life where, you know what, the future is not as long of a runway as the past. So you have to decide and be intentional about how to move forward. So for me, it's about self-care, figuring out what that is in your soul, what that is on that to-do list that you have put on the shelf to take care of everyone else. This is your time. To me, this is so vital and so important, because there's people that are going to need what you have that you're holding on to. My coach would call it selfish. It's like, how dare you not put this out for everyone? Yeah. Okay. So that's the first one. The second one is I would say, go out and foster supporting the women who are younger. Like at this stage, we're supposed to be the women of wisdom. We're supposed to be able to mentor and support the women that are coming forward and handling this stage of life. They shouldn't be, really having difficulty understanding what this path is. We're responsible for doing that. And the next thing I would say is just go out in nature and be grateful to be here amongst, all of the glory of what has been created, the air, the wind, the water, the fire, like all of those things that are here, we're a part of that. We are magnificent beings. Some people don't make it here. So,
Right. Wow, Beverly, I love those 3 points. And I'm just, this will be transcribed. It'll also be sent out in a video format, but I do want to just reiterate, they were so powerful because it's so true. Self-care is so important because if we don't take care of ourselves, we can't take care of anyone else, right? Or help anyone else. And I always liken it to, and I know you've heard this analogy, but you go on an airplane and what do they tell you? Safety message. If there's an emergency, you put the oxygen mask on you first before you can save the person next to you. It's that same concept for us, that for women, going through this menopause journey. So I love that concept. The second one is mentoring. Well, you know what? That's part of legacy, mentoring. To be a mentor is part of your legacy, leaving that positive mark. So I totally agree with you there. And then be grateful. Something so simple, yet gets those happy hormones, going through your body, right? In fact, it's funny you say that because I have a 5-day challenge right now. It's the gratitude challenge because gratitude makes such an impact in all we do holistically as a person, but also in your business or whatever adventures you have going on in your life, right? And so that's a challenge. Look at something positive in your life and be grateful for those things. We all have positive things in our life. It's just making sure we focus on the right things. I always give the analogy, if you think of a piece of paper and there's a black mark on it like this, well, you can't really see it, but if there's a mark, people are drawn to the mark, right? Not all the white around it or the positivity. So we want to focus on the positive things. So that's awesome that you share those 3 key points with us. And I know I wrote them down. They'll be transcribed, like I said, so we can carry them through. And I just want to see if anyone else in Clubhouse, if they have any feedback or questions for Beverly, we can address them now. If not, like I said, we are definitely going to have this recorded in Clubhouse and then also here on, with this platform that we're utilizing. So thank you, Beverly. So many positive things that we've addressed regarding legacy, and I could go on and on, but I do want to be sensitive to your time as well. And I do want to say, reach out to Beverly. She can assist you understanding the importance of what you take into your body, how that impacts you, the things around you. I am a very satisfied client of Beverly's. I'm so excited the way in just 5 days, and then we extended the time as well, but 5 days made a huge impact on me, a huge impact. So please reach out to her. She's here to assist, and she has a genuine interest in assisting other individuals to be able to be the best version of themselves. So as we close out, Beverly, do you have any last remarks before we close the podcast?
I want to say, Cynthia, this has been like hanging out with a girlfriend. A jewel, but what you're doing is making such a difference, and it's a ripple effect of how this is going to go out. So thank you for what you do on the platform, and truly working with you was one of my absolute pleasures because you are just a sweetheart, and just from your core, you just absolutely resonate love. And I so appreciate being in the space with you and love being here with you and your audience today.
Well, thank you. And you even got to meet my little son, huh? Little Liza. Well, thank you, Beverly. I appreciate the time you took to be here with me today. It means so much to me. And I look forward to continuing to work with you and collaborate with you on other magnificent things we're planning in our mind of ours, right? So thank you so much. So I will be, thank you. I'll send you a little heart here. So I'm signing off as Cynthia Gallardo, your favorite legacy lady. Thank you so much. And we'll go ahead and stop the recording here. Thank you, Beverly. I appreciate you.